It's very important because that's the identity of the Yakan weaving. Doon ang pinaka-importante sa amin dahil isang identity ng Yakan doon na talaga nanggagaling. I am dreaming for the development in the entire village and even Basilan City as far as weaving and the livelihood of these people is concerned.
One time, we brought one of our partners here, the Unilab, United Laboratories, and they thought, these are beautiful weaves. And then they explored what were the beginnings of these weaves. But there was a point when they realized that this used to be a naturally colored or dyed looms. However, of looms and pandan leaves in the aspect of Bajau. So there, I think at the very core of it, we wanted to retrace the history, the beautiful history of the Yakan weaves. We wanted to integrate what was naturally there, which is the natural dyeing of the weaves. So
That was the time when I was a little kid when I saw my grandmother uh, using silk, some indigenous materials in coloring their, coloring their thread, the cotton thread. That's the time. But the weaving was already was not so very strong as we have now. Because of the use of indigenous materials, the use of cotton again, the use of all grasses, or leaves, or trunk of trees that could be used for, dyeing. So it helps us. We were able to, discover these things again. Kasi yung natural dye, masyadong gumanda yung quality ng product because of cotton, not polyester. Tapos, yung natural dye, pinaka-importante doon kasi yung trabaho medyo gumanda at saka yung value ng product namin tumaas.
So we brought the PTRI, the Philippine Textile Research Institute, together with the United Laboratories as a sponsor. And then we trained some 30 weavers from Bajau and Yakan communities to be able to teach them how to do the natural dye.
Yes, if you cotton was produced at that time, they done the mercerized thread, and majority of the thread are polyester. So it is not so good for the weavers to weave polyester. As far as our weaving is concerned, that bringing back to us our indigenous materials, teaching us this to make our product more valuable, more the price gets size a little bit than the polyester that we are using right now, which the weavers doesn't accept much when working on polyester.
It was a 3-day capacity building activity with PTRI and Unilab. And then right after that, we supplied them the first batch of looms, which are naturally dyed. They dyed themselves. So right now it's ongoing process of weaving. That we have we're waiting for the actual weaves to arrive coming from Basilan, the first batch of naturally dyed weaves.
I think so because I have started. I went to Basilan last week to have a follow-up for the start of the weaving of the natural dye, the cotton, and sooner or later you can see the product or the finished product is this natural dye, and I'm sure that you will appreciate it. And everybody, especially our good customers, will be interested on seeing this natural dye. In some way, they are receptive to it because I have seen in Basilan and in here, we are training them, we are encouraging them because that's our identity and it's a living for us.
We use several things around the area. What else? Like the mango leaves, the bark of mahogany, which is very, very strong in terms of infusing color. For example, you can get a pink hue, a pink color from a coconut fruit. You can get mahogany of brown, 2 colors of mahogany, brown and golden. You have talisay leaves. So these are the common things that we see. The dream is to really have the genuine, the natural Yakan weaves get the spotlight, one of the spotlight for the many indigenous communities. I think these are treasures of the Philippines that we have to protect. Something that we don't bargain, we, we don't commercially like mass produce, we don't copy or anything. These are treasures that has to be that's woven over time, and it should be protected. It should be given the right attention. It should be given the right importance they deserve. So for us, where I can make a difference, our dream is for the Yakan communities, number one, to be able to see how valuable their produce are, their weeds. We hope to see the Zamboangueños appreciate the Yakan as it should be appreciated, to be able to take pride that, you know what, back in our home we have these beautiful weaves. We want Zamboangueños to take pride out of this beautiful treasure in Zamboanga City. And for the greater market, we wish to reach people who are very interested with looms and weaves, for them to get to know the real story behind it, not just the weave, but the actual weaver itself, the community, how they live, what's the inspiration from this pattern. That, I think, is storytelling. It's being able to communicate the kind of story, the beautiful story of Yakan to the greater majority. The challenges, number one, is the supplies of cotton yarns, because right now you're actually going against the commercially dyed polyester cotton yarns. But naturally, it has to be cotton, 100% cotton, for it to be a Class A authentic Yakan weave. So right now, because of the unavailability or very small production of cotton, a lot of the people right now, or the weavers themselves, have shifted to commercially prepared yarns. So that's one. I think we have to look for a steady source of cotton yarns, which we can use naturally dye materials. And then the second is the market. Because unlike the commercially prepared yarns, the naturally dyed looms are not as bright as the commercially prepared. It's not as red, it's not as pink, it's not as violet. So people might, there are some people might lose interest because it's not as vibrant as it should be or as it used to be. But again, it goes back to telling them what was the natural or what was the authentic Yakan weave, what was the way before these commercially prepared yarns have gone into the market and eventually, topple down the cotton or the authentic Yakan weaves. One of the challenges is also to get the source of materials where we can get quality materials, because these are usually sourced in Manila, and we have to look for it first. We have to get the quality materials there with the stores. We have to engage with a lot of providers or suppliers. But then again, these are the many things that we have to do.
Not much on that, but because of financial or some assistance in the production of this cotton, production of the materials which we need in Basilan right now. Challenges I could see is the market. One is the market. There are lesser customers coming in. Foreigners are quite low in coming down to the city, not only in Yakan village, but even in Zamboanga city itself. Because of the peace and order situation, sometimes that there are in the newspapers, there are in the radio stations, TV stations, which scared foreigners, which doesn't mean that it is true. Some are not. The flow of tourists lowered, so market, we have no market, so our production remains in our area. We were not able to sell them. We are encouraging them to practice and learn the weaving despite of being in school, so that they will not forget their identity, the cultural heritage that their parents have transferred to them.